Addmotor. If you're one of the many viewers that has asked me to take a look at one of their bikes, this video's for you. The bike, the Soletan M66X. Well, maybe not just for you, it's a bit for me because I like this bike in this exact color scheme. This is what caught my eye when I looked at it on their website. I mean, how could I not like this? E-moped styling, and finally, a company that mentions directly on their website the words moped cruiser. There's lots to this bike, some surprises, and I'm going to show them to you now. Top to bottom component rundown of the M66X, starting up top at the bars. Fittingly, this has moped-style U-shaped bars, but what stands out about these is they are a true U, meaning they don't have the crossbar I usually see on e-bikes. That open U really does accent the moped inspiration. The grips, leather-like or faux leather, they are comfort grips. A half grip on the right side to accommodate the twist throttle. If you're a twist and go rider, there you go. But this throttle has an extra feature, a button that allows it to be turned off. I like this, no accidental throttle gooses, a safety touch, a nice touch. Shifter, tried and true, a Shimano 7-speed. Brakes, those are mechanical, Tektro branded, but these are the fancy mechanicals with the upscale rubber no-slip lever inserts. They also have an integrated motor shutoff switch and an integrated bell. On the left side, there is also the control pad, and there's a lot going on here. Just know those top buttons, those are for the integrated turn signals. A little spoiler there. The important thing is that all the buttons are within easy reach. The selections can be viewed on the center mounted screen. Oh yeah, and this key. This is a first for me. This bike has two keys, but out of the box, they aren't together. They're the same key, but one zip tied up here by the handlebars, the other down by the battery. That center mounted display, decently sized monochrome LCD backlit, a closer look at that shortly. This bike might be vintage inspired, but it's very modern, ergonomically up top, and it gets more ergonomic. All this is bolted to an adjustable stem, an Uno stem. I've paid money for that brand, I've put them on many mountain bikes before. This one can be adjusted up and down 60 degrees. Here's another brand I know right below that stem, the Spacer's Neko branded, and they came lined up like that out of the box. I appreciate that. And the head tube Addmotor branding, very 1970s inspired with their graphics. The entire bike color scheme, I'm getting ahead of myself, we'll come back to that. First, more components like this AddShocks fork. This is a double crown fork, so very motorcycle or moped looking. Specs, the stanchions, 32.5 millimeters, 80 millimeters of travel. There are also preload adjusters or a preload adjuster. And I see these on a lot of downhill bikes, first on an e-bike. These bumpers help to protect the frame. Forks are always a mount point for other components, and on e-bikes, usually a headlight at the arch is an accessory. The M66X gets even more. That's a digital horn. I guess if the bike's bell isn't doing it for you, that horn, 108 decibels. In front of that, the headlight. It's tiny but very bright. And one more thing mounted to that arch, the painted fender, a metal painted fender. This can't get any more fitting of the 70s style, and that's a sturdy metal too. Two-tone with that pinstripe graphic, vintage like the tires, with their prominent sidewall, the white wall. These totally cement the classic looks. The brand Innova, the size 20 by 4.0. Those are wrapped around one of my favorite surprises, the alloy mag wheels. First, the design, it's just cool. Alternating spokes, some black, some polished. It's a good look and a good brand. A first, I believe, on any scooter or e-bike that I've reviewed. I've seen Bafang motors, but this is a Bafang front wheel. How cool is that? And even Bafang getting in on this 70s inspiration with this rim design, and they're fun. I mean, just look at that. And I tend to like pairs and symmetry, so I like having a complete Bafang wheel set on this bike. Let's look at the other half of that wheel set because that's actually where the motor is. Well, first, the pedals, alloy Welgo pedals. Addmotor branding on the crankset. It's actually made by ounce, and that single chainring, that's a 42-tooth chainring. At the rear, a Shimano derailleur, and the only tweaking I had to do on the bike, I had to bend that derailleur guard back out. I wanted to show you how it came out of the box. The rear gearing, 7 speeds via a 14 to 28 tooth freewheel. Now I've already tipped off with my glee at the rims that this is a Bafang power plant. The choice of champions, this particular Bafang, 48 volts, 750 watts. And check this out, another surprise, very much like a classic moped, fold down rear foot pegs, and these are metal. This is a perfect fit with that large seat. I mean, how many people rode around on the back of a friend's moped, especially if it's a 70s era moped, with their feet on foot pegs? It can be done on this bike too. It has a 300-pound max load. And that's not the only surprise back here. When I looked up at the rear suspension, the dual rear suspension, I realized, wait a minute, this isn't a standard set of coilover shocks. These are air shocks. I pay big bucks to put air shocks on my mountain bikes. This bike comes with 2 of them out of the box. In front of that, the bike's battery sporting dome stickers with that Addmotor logo. I'm thinking 70s Trans Am. Remember, I said this bike has 2 keys. They both work with the battery. One was up front, the second, that was zip tied back here. Let's use one to take the battery out, which is easily done. Just turn the lock, pull, and it comes right out. Battery features a charge level indicator, of course the keyed lock. On the other side, that's the charge port. On the bottom, dual fuses and the battery specs. This battery, 20 amp hour, that's 960 watt hours of power, and Samsung cells UL listed. The mounting rail firmly secured. The interface, that has an O-ring for waterproofing. A quick note that the speed controller, 25 amp. From that and all the other cables and wires routed internally, nice and neat up to the front, and whatever this is, neatly tucked away. With the banana seat, the retro look is solidified. That and the frame design, and of course this color scheme. The frame is aluminum with round tubes and a step-through design, and the extra touches like this wood butcher block floorboard. This is legit butcher block. All tied together with this vintage-inspired color scheme for this white bike. The best retro paint job I've seen on an e-bike. The white to red with the black pinstripes. Classy. My only regret is not getting my hands on this bike during car show season. This would look super parked next to a line of classic cars. But as you've seen, there's also plenty of modern underneath the facade, like this rear taillight, the LED taillight. Per their website specs, this taillight's also UL listed, and it's not just a taillight, it's a functional brake light, and it also includes functional turn signals. Bafang motors, they are efficient and powerful, so the brakes need to be capable of taming that power. We already know this bike has Tektro brakes, the model Aries, rotors front and rear 180 millimeters. There's lots here and plenty of surprises, and I'm giddy with the looks, which is great, except that makes me have huge expectations. Can the ride match the specs and the visual enjoyment? Well, let's discuss that. First and foremost, what to expect speed-wise from this 48-volt, 750-watt Bafang-powered bike. The rated speed's up to 25 miles per hour, which it can do. But you need to pedal to hit 25. If you want to ride around like I do, throttle only most of the time, that's limited to 20 miles per hour. But it can do the 20 consistently and easily. So 20 miles per hour, throttle only. If you do want to pedal, there are 7 available pedal assist modes to choose from. Starting at 8 miles per hour for pedal assist 1, all the way up to pedal assist 7, where the bike can do the 25 miles per hour top speed. Now these moped style e-bikes, they're usually not the most comfortable to pedal because they're wide, and some are more forgiving than others. On this one, the banana seat helps. I can move backwards and forwards and find kind of a sweet spot. Personally, the bike is so smooth and easy to handle in throttle only mode, I just don't pedal unless I have to. Or I'll admit, if I look across and I see another bike in the other bike lane, usually I'll give a couple of pedal revolutions just so I don't feel guilty. I said easy handling. Well, let's talk about handling, because the bike is smooth thanks to the front and the rear. Remember, those are air suspensions back there at the back. One-handed riding, I don't recommend you try this. I'm a trained idiot. It absorbs everything, as in it smooths it all out. I'm aiming for bumps here, and it's making all these street imperfections an easy ride. Back to pedaling for a minute. If you do choose to pedal, there is pedal resistance right up to 25 miles per hour, but not past that. Good setup, Addmotor. Now let me test rolling resistance downhill. I like to do this now. Coasting, this bike will crest 30 miles per hour, and the brakes at the bottom of the hill, enough to slow the bike down easily. Climb testing up that same hill, and this is throttle only. Some bikes don't make it, some do better than others. This bike clips up the hill quite well. It never slowed below 15 miles per hour on this hill, and it crested at over 17. That puts it above average. It also handles very well around town dips and turns. It's maneuverable. And it used the turn signals a lot around town. That comes from a moped scooter riding. But I found that it makes me feel better, knowing that there's an indicator for people approaching from the rear. If someone's coming from the front, I have time to react. I can see it coming. From the rear, that's our blind spot. The turn signals come in handy. And the way they're implemented, an easy top hat button press for left and right, it's just intuitive. Let's talk briefly about range. The 20 amp hour battery and 25 amp controller, Addmotor claims up to 105 miles per charge. I'm sure on totally flat ground and pedal assist one, I don't know, maybe. But really, who does that? We either ride throttle only or we tend to ride at the higher pedal assist modes. So I can tell you the throttle only ranges, at least experienced by me, for example, the first ride. Riding all my usual places, all over downtown, including the big hills. This is the results for throttle only. In the upper right hand corner, that's the odometer. 12 miles of throttle only riding, and the battery still has 3 bars. It's actually 2. Once again on the throttle, it drops to 2. So I feel pretty safe with 16 to 17 miles worth of throttle only riding and having a little in reserve. As far as the pedal assist modes, I had this bike for a limited time, so I'll refer you to their website, which I'll link in the description, but expect this bike to be a high miler, at least versus some of the other e-mopeds on the market. And how about this for timing? I'm looking at their website and I scroll right to it, the display. It does have a backlight. Pedal assist is the bottom right, 7 settings, 1 through 7 at least. Top right, that's the odometer and the trip meter. In the middle, the speedometer, and there's also average and max speed modes. Those reset after the bike sits for a while. Bottom left, the headlight indicator and also the indicator for left turn signal. Bottom left, bottom right, right turn signal. And finally, battery charge level in the top left. And that's pretty much everything I know in my experience with this very vintage inspired. Fans of the 70s are gonna love it, Addmotor Soletan M66 X. And this is just one of the available colors. The others are vintagey looking too. They all look good. And I'm gonna put the current price in the title. At the time of making this video, there's a huge discount, so check the description. Also want to note, I'm not an affiliate with Addmotor, but some of my links are affiliate links, and you never know when I might be an Addmotor affiliate. So disclaimer, I may earn from affiliate links. And that's what I have to say. Now let me hear what you have to say. Comment below, give me your thoughts on this bike. Thank you so much for watching KevCentral, and have a great day.